Sadly, exhaustion has become the new normal, and what's worse is that we have been conditioned to believe that it's the price that we have to pay to get the life that we want. It's just completely crazy to me how hustle culture has completely rewired our minds to believe that more work equals more success, completely stripping away the fact that the true power lies in strategy, rest, discipline, and consistency. But here's the thing, pushing through burnout, that is not ambition. That is actually you choosing to live in survival mode, and quite honestly, most of us don't even realize that it has become our default setting. In today's video, we are unpacking exactly why exhaustion has become our baseline, how to recognize when you're spiraling into a burnout, and some steps that we can take to reset mentally, physically, and emotionally. Obviously, the goal is that we want to restore our peace. We live in an era where exhaustion has been glamorized. Like literally everywhere that we look, social media is telling us work harder, sleep less, hustle at all costs, all under this illusion that doing more will somehow get you closer to your dream life. But let's be completely honest, a lot of us are living double and sometimes triple lives just even try to keep up with that narrative. I could bet money right now there's a woman out there trying to follow that narrative right now, but here's the difference. This is a one-woman show. She's trying to post 3 to 5 times a day on Instagram, trying to post 3 to 5 times a day on TikTok. She's uploading a weekly YouTube video, all while trying to hold down a 9 to 5, trying to squeeze in a workout and eat healthy, trying to maintain healthy friendships, and trying to nurture a relationship. And please, please, please don't have kids and a marriage on top of that. That's literally like running 6.0 speed on the treadmill with 10 inch heels on. Now, is this doable? Yeah. Can you hit your goals that way? Sure. I never said it wasn't possible. I mean, yeah, she might hit the milestones, she might hit the numbers and get the brand deals, but then what? We have to realize every new level comes with more responsibility, more deadlines, more pressure, more people counting on you to show up every single day and not miss a beat. But let's not forget, you can only run on fumes for so long before your body and mind decide for you that it's time to sit down. It will be completely against your will if need be, but your mind and body will collaborate and they'll be like, it's time to sit down. Now, if you've ever found yourself unintentionally seduced into working through exhaustion just to reach your goals, congratulations, okay? You are human. I am pretty sure that 99% of us can admit that yes, we have allowed our desires to consume us and we have pushed ourselves past the limits that we should have. Maybe you were trying to speed your journey along to get to the next phase of life. Maybe you wanted a couple of things that stretched way past your budget and you needed to get to that next phase so you could make a little more money. Or maybe deep down, you chasing a little revenge, you're trying to prove someone wrong or prove to them that they missed out on a little something. But unintentional seduction, baby, that is dangerous territory, and let me explain why. That's that point where alignment really starts to slip away from you, and you want to be careful about this because when you're not doing things in alignment, your goals can start to consume you so much that now you're doing it by a any means necessary type of attitude. When you're doing things with a by any means necessary kind of attitude, you're not operating in your core values at that point. When we are no longer operating with our core values in place, it makes it easier for us to fall for the glamorization of busyness. Let's look at it like this. A lot of girlies out there have a morning routine, right? And in our morning routine, we might get up, we might make our bed, we might journal, we might do our skincare routine, take a shower, do our body care routine, we might have a cup of coffee, we might sip some tea, we might just really slow things down. It's not about the actions. We don't necessarily care about the actions of the morning routine. It's the value that we're getting out of the morning routine. It's about you setting the intentions over your day. It's about having the emotional balance. It's about the self-awareness. You have to guard your value set with everything that you love, because if you get to a point where you are that desperate to fulfill your goals, that is going to be a direct disruption to what you value. Desperation makes you bendable. Now you're the person that's going to go along with whatever the majority says. Now you're the person that's going to follow behind what everybody else is doing. A person who has their value set in place is not going to intentionally look busy. They don't care how it looks to the outside world. They're worried about getting the task done on their list and getting things done that's going to actually propel them forward, versus the person who has had their value set stripped away because they're desperate. Now they're trying to look and appear like everyone else. The other person over here is actually getting tasks done, but over here, they're trying to make it look like they're doing something when really they're not. This is exactly how people end up tying their worth to how their day looks or how busy their day was. The person over here who has their value set in place could take one business meeting and do 3 tasks working from home and still be way more productive than the person over here who does not have their value set in place, and they think that they need to take a lunch meeting, a business meeting, they need to film content, they need to edit the content, they need to go for the matcha run so it can look like I'm doing something during my day, and then I gotta come home and do self-care. They're trying to pile on all of these things. What are you really getting done? Looking busy is meaningless. It's time to get busy, and we have to do so in a way that respects our own personal timeline. And this is actually why I stress so much that you as an individual, you have to know what success means for you. Looking busy was a learned behavior that you picked up from somebody, but you did so because there was a lack in direction. You did not have a clear vision of what success meant to you personally. You found yourself moving like the person who's maintaining, but you're forgetting the fact that you're not maintaining. So you're trying to replicate what they're doing, but for you, it's keeping you in the exact same spot. You can be in motion constantly and still not be moving forward. Here's the other side about that glamorization of busyness. Sometimes that busyness is just simply avoidance. It is a distraction to keep you away from the stillness and really having to ask yourself some hard questions. Questions like, what if I've been chasing the wrong thing? What if I'm choosing more busyness in exchange for instant validation? What if I suffer from a limited mindset? So what happened to us? How do we end up chasing exhaustion? How do we end up chasing busyness? How did burnout become our default setting? Two things. Comparison is the first thing, and the second thing is a false sense of being behind. We start functioning on exhaustion to prove a point. There are multiple reasons behind what would drive us to want to prove a point, but let's look at two: an inferiority complex and external validation. Probably the first thing that comes to mind when someone thinks inferiority complex is somebody with a low self-esteem, and this is not true. This also includes a person who has a need to prove to someone else that they are worthy. Someone with an inferiority complex can also struggle with proving their worth because deep down, they don't think that they're good enough. So in this scenario, a person is working through exhaustion because they have zero self-acceptance and everything that they do is never good enough. On the other side, it could be the external validation that you struggle with and you constantly find yourself in this validation loop. This is what that validation loop looks like, okay? Maybe you see someone and they're your same age, maybe same marital status, they are married, they have kids, and you see that they're doing much better than what you think you're doing in your life. They have the house, they have the nice car, they're living the certain lifestyle, they get to travel as a family, they don't have to leave their kids behind with grandma and grandpa. They just have this beautiful life together and it just eats you up and you're constantly in your head like, oh my gosh, well, what am I doing wrong? So then you start comparing yourself. That's the first problem. You start comparing yourself and then you get this feeling, oh my gosh, I'm so behind in life. I don't know what I'm doing, but I need to work harder. So then you're doubling and tripling and quadrupling sometimes your workload. Why? Because this person over here is doing better than you and you want to prove that you can do just as good. So you're working to try to get there. So then, okay, maybe you get a little brief moment of that dopamine hit. Your workload is paying off and all of that extra work that you dumped in is, okay, like I'm seeing it a little bit. It's working. And you get this dopamine spike, but then that dopamine fades. And all of the work that you put in, now it's starting to, just kind of dwindle down a little bit. And then you find yourself all over again in the same comparison loop. Oh my gosh, well, what did I do wrong this time? Well, I'm doing what they're doing, but they're growing and I'm not. Or they did this kind of work at the job and they got promoted, but I didn't. You are going to constantly find yourself in this same exact loop. You cannot operate from a place of passion or purpose if comparison and the constant need to prove yourself are the rulers over your life. Everything has a price. Exhaustion, burnout, when that has become your default setting, everything has a price. So what is that going to cost you? First and foremost, it's going to cost you your mental clarity. Being able to make a sound decision for yourself out the window. You don't even know what you want. It's going to cost your health. You are going to be functioning every single day under a high level stress environment. It's going to cost your relationships. Nobody is going to want to be bothered with you. They are not going to want to be around you and your negative attitude and, oh my gosh, woe is me. Nobody is going to want to be bothered. So then you're going to find yourself lonely and not have anybody to talk to. Creativity gone. And it's also going to cost your happiness. You will not be able to find happiness in your life that way. If you're productive but you don't find joy in what you're doing anymore, or you rest but you don't feel rested, maybe here recently you've been just snapping for no reason, you have an attitude problem, you find yourself kind of detaching from things, 9 times out of 10 you are probably suffering from just exhaustion and you're burnt out. You have been tired for too long, and I am here to remind you that being burnt out and working through exhaustion, it is a choice. So guess who forgot to film their whole entire section on how to reset from burnout mentally, physically, and emotionally?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Today drained me.
I have not posted a full-length YouTube video in about 2 months, so we're gonna cut me some slack. Honestly, this worked out perfectly though, because on my list of things that have personally helped me to reset from burnout, acknowledging and accepting your mistakes. This right here never would have happened. Get on camera and acknowledge that, oh my gosh, I made a huge mistake. I forgot. Yeah, it's gonna be different scenery. Yes, I am in my pajamas. No, I'm not all dolled up. I don't have my makeup on. And I'm okay with that. This would have pissed me off in so many ways because I would have been like, it's not gonna look perfect. It's gonna look sloppy. It's gonna look like 2 different scenes that don't match. When you're in a comparison mindset, you wanna play catch up to where everybody else is. So you feel like everything that you do has to be perfect. Acknowledge and accept the mistakes. I mean, you're human, you're not a machine. So if you forget something, oh my gosh, it's not the end of the world. Number 2 thing on my list that you can do, recalibrate the expectations that you have for yourself. Ask yourself a very basic question. Are the expectations that you have over your life right now, are they realistic for where you are in your life right now? Prime example, I cannot have the same expectations on myself that a single woman can have for her life. A lot of the content creators that I was following at the time were young, single, could move and groove and do whatever they felt. I cannot operate like that. I have 3 kids. I am married. I have a household to run. I work a 9 to 5 and I do content creation. I have to spread myself a little thinner than what a single woman living her own life can do. I was constantly trying to figure out, well, why do I feel so stressed? Why do I feel all this pressure on myself? Why am I just feeling beat down every single day? I was expecting way too much out of myself. It's okay to have high expectations for yourself, to be able to reach those levels within yourself daily. It's about reaching the levels within yourself, not the expectations that somebody else has in their lives. Do a digital detox. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, everybody says do a digital detox. Because it's probably one of the quickest, easiest things that you can do to reset your nervous system. Get off of social media for 24 hours. If you cannot get off social media for 24 hours, obviously you have bigger fish to fry. You have bigger problems at hand if you cannot put your phone down and get off social media for 24 hours. We scroll because we are bored. We scroll because it's habit. We scroll because honestly, sometimes we want to be nosy. Find something else to do. Get on Pinterest. Find a new recipe that you haven't tried. Spend the evening cooking. Spend the evening cleaning. Spend the evening reading a book. Where is my phone at? Because my alarm is going off. I mean, the amount of time that I realized that I had during the day was crazy when I started really monitoring what time I was spending on social media. After I looked back at it and I was thinking about all of the accumulated hours over a day, I was spending every bit of 3-4 hours a day just scrolling on social media. Now, yes, it might have been 10 minutes here, an hour there, 30 minutes here, but again, it adds up. Share for others. If you really want to eliminate burnout, you want to eliminate working through exhaustion, and quite honestly, if you want to eliminate comparison from your mindset, I am going to need you to start cheering for other people. Now, this is all spiritual. This is completely spiritual right here. I had to realize I was an extremely jealous person. I was an envious person. If I saw multiple people on my feed, I would just throw my phone down, just pissed. Like, why my content is better than theirs. I look better than them. I have so many more engaging stories than they do. My editing is better than them. I mean, I was that kind of person. And I hate to even admit that out loud, but that's the kind of person that I was. I was very negative. I was very jealous. I was envious. I hated not being the one who was propelling forward in my life. One day, I just woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of being a jealous soul. I'm tired of being an envious soul. Like, I felt like it was physically making me sick that I felt this way about other people. And I think the part that made me the sickest was I never felt like that until I got on social media. Until I started being able to see everybody's lives up close and personal is when I started feeling envious and jealous. One thing about me, I have always kept God at the center of my life, but I will admit my spiritual life had started taking a backseat because of how the jealousy and the envy was taking over. I mean, obviously it's one of the 7 deadly sins. It was taking over my brain. I wasn't talking to God. I wasn't trying to hear from God. My belief system was in complete shambles. When I finally woke up that day and I realized the person that I had become, I knew only God could see me through that. Only God could help me fix my heart posture. Only God could help me restore my mindset. Only God could completely remove the jealousy and the envy that had overtaken my heart. And I was like, you know what? I have to get my spiritual life back in order. It has to be the priority in my life. And once I made it a priority in my life, and once I placed God back in the center of my life, I started feeling lighter. Like every single day that I got on social media to post my content, anytime a woman came across my screen and she was sharing something beautiful in her life or sharing something that she accomplished, I was like, I'm happy for her. When you remove all of that negativity, that jealousy, that envy, that hatred, because honestly, it comes down to hatred in your heart. Continue to cheer for other people, continue to have happiness in your heart for other people. Not just because you want to get something in return, but because that is how your heart is set up. Number 5 on my list, say, Fuck the timeline. I created a series on TikTok, and actually I've been sharing the videos over here on my YouTube shorts. I've talked about living by timelines on my channel before, but I don't think I believed it as much as I believe it now. Her 30s Bloom is my way of showing other women, if you have not yet accomplished some of the things that you wanted to accomplish in life, so what? You still have time. We have got to get ourselves away from these suffocating social timelines. I don't care if somebody is 10 steps ahead of me. That is where they're supposed to be. This is where I'm supposed to be. Because had I not been right here, I wouldn't have learned to truly get away from living by timelines, and I wouldn't have the kind of confidence that I have right now. I wouldn't be able to get on here and encourage other women to say, hey, fuck the timeline. You have got to take that on as your mantra every single day and repeat it to yourself, because that is the only way that you are going to rewire your brain to believe that you still have time. Even if you have to take a different route in life, that's okay, but you can still get to your ultimate goal at the end of the day. I want you to add a leisure activity to your schedule every single day, but it has to be something that genuinely brings you joy. My little guilty pleasure right now is watching Jenny and Georgia. I have talked a lot about the fact that I stopped watching TV, and I did. I stopped watching TV to help me stay productive, but I think a lot of that was me operating in exhaustion, trying to get myself to work every single day. I allow myself one episode a day. When I get my priority tasks done, which usually I give myself, a good 3 to 5 priority tasks daily. Once I knock those out, I give myself a little sweet treat. So I want you to find something that just genuinely brings you joy, something that makes you smile, because you have to have happiness in your life every single day. Choose one calming ritual every single day that is going to decrease overstimulation. Look at the world we live in, guys. We are emotionally triggered every single day, from politics to family to schools. It's so widespread nowadays that every single thing is triggering. You have to find something that can calm those nerves. My nighttime routine is literally the one thing that I still do daily. My calming ritual every single day, I shut my big light off, have my jazz music going, have my little lamp on. That is the most calming thing for me. I do it 2 hours before I go to bed. It allows my mind to slowly just shut down. If that's meditating for you, do that. If that's journaling for you, do that. If that's going on a walk, do that. If that's playing with your dog, do that. And the final thing on my list that has truly helped me to reset my mind, get myself from working through exhaustion, not allowing that to be my baseline anymore, is really understanding the statement, happiness is not a destination. We are so desperately chasing the next big moments in our life because we think that it's going to give us this immense amount of happiness, but then we forget those are only moments, and moments are fleeting. Why would I want to tie my happiness into waiting for something that's only going to last for a second? Happiness is to be experienced every single day. And that's why it's important to understand what in your life is truly bringing you happiness. Burnout has a way of making happiness feel so far away. When you're working through that exhaustion, you're waiting daily for that big moment to happen. Everybody wants to get to the next level. They're ready to take on more responsibility. They're ready to maybe make a little more money or whatever the case. Yes, I'm ready, but am I forcing it? Am I rushing through it? Not anymore. I'm grateful to be where I am. I'm happy to be where I am. I'm learning so much about myself that I am very happy to be in this season of life right now. I find pure joy in that. Not waiting for a big moment to give me that, but I am taking my joy right now. So yeah, those were my 8 tips on how you can reset from exhaustion, reset from that burnout mentally, physically, and emotionally. Hopefully this video helped you in a major way, and if it did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button too if you want to come back and hang out with your girl. But that is all that I have for you today. Until next time, my loves. Bye.